Hello, it's Fiona Hancock here. Welcome to episode 2 of A Soulful Life. Last week, we looked at the heart and how making that connection and that communion within ourselves is a beautiful anchoring point to experience day-to-day life, but is also fundamental to our spiritual unfoldment and living a more conscious and awakened life. Hopefully as well, you learned some tools and tips and techniques and 2 very simple and accessible ways to begin your journey into meditation. So today's episode is all about what you think. Now, it's a huge subject, and I was very aware that I could spend hours and hours and hours talking to you about the mind and mindset. So I thought that I would break down today's session into 2 parts: the monkey mind, and then mindsets that I think are really important to spirituality in day-to-day life. So the monkey mind is very much a Buddhist principle, and it's a great metaphor, isn't it? If you start to think about the fact that you live every day with a monkey in your head, hollering, screaming, shouting, chattering, swinging from branch to branch, thought to thought, never sitting still, and being quite chaotic. In fact, the words that Buddhists use with regards to the monkey mind is they say it's unsettled, it's restless, and it's confused. And I think that we can all agree that that's probably very correct. Now, the good news is that in many spiritual traditions around the world, however the monkey mind is labeled, it is totally within your ability to connect with your monkey mind and to begin to rein it in. It doesn't need to be a crazy mad boss. It doesn't need to be a wild spirit that you've got no control of, or your own worst enemy. And I'd like to use the words of Yungay Mingyal Rinpoche. He's absolutely fantastic. I will give you the links to him and everybody that I mentioned in the PDF takeaway at the end. So don't worry about dashing down and writing names. Now, this wonderful monk talks about the fact that you need to begin a dialogue with your monkey mind. Hi, monkey mind. Come on, we've got some work to do. And he says the best thing you can do with your monkey mind is give it a job to do. And obviously, from a Buddhist background, that's meditation. He says if you make friends with your monkey mind, it transforms into wisdom, love, compassion, and awareness. He talks about how crucial the relationship with your monkey mind is. He said the more you begin to train and talk and dialogue and meditate and breathe, you'll do breathing meditations. Slowly, your mind becomes calm and peaceful, pliable and workable, and the monkey mind becomes nicer, becomes kinder, and the monkey mind comes to benefit for you and even can become your employee. Instead of you being the puppet on its string, it serves you. And he says that even 2 or 3 breaths, anywhere, anytime, walking down the road, in the queue at the post office, waiting for the checkout, anywhere, anytime is an opportunity to do breath work that teaches the monkey mind to become calmer and stiller and to work for you. So let's do it right away. Close your eyes, close your mouth, and just notice the flow of air in and out of your body. Monkey mind, we're going to ask you to concentrate on the breath. Notice our breath. Monkey mind, notice the flow of air in and out of our body. There you go. Isn't that easy? Now we're going to do it again with a slightly different take. So close your eyes and put your hand high up on your belly near your diaphragm. And again, you're going to ask your monkey mind to come in and notice the flow of air in and out of your body. And notice how your hand moves. That's right. Isn't that simple? Now, if thoughts come in the middle of that, you just return to the flow of air in and out of your body. The monkey mind is designed to chatter. So if the monkey mind comes into your meditations or into your breath work, you simply notice that you've begun to think and you return to your breath. I can't stress how important and how powerful breath work is. Even moments, regular moments of breath work, how much that can transform your body. So I'd just like to read to you a list of wonderful ways that it can make a difference. Spiritually, your breath promotes openness, gratitude, insight, creativity, energy, flow, connections, answers. There are beautiful breath work workshops where people can have the most profound revelations come just because they've dropped into the stillness of their breath. Physically, breath work can change your blood pH. It lowers blood pressure, reduces heart rate. It can help with respiratory and asthma conditions. It puts the body into a parasympathetic state. It lowers stress, lowers cortisol levels, increases energy, can promote better sleep, reduces anxiety. And as I said at the beginning, it begins to enable you to drop into the connection of calming the monkey mind. But if we want to pursue a spiritual journey in this life, it's about connection, and our breath enables us to connect. It invites the stillness in, and in the stillness, we can commune with our soul. We can hear the whispers of intuition and what our soul presence has to say, and we open up the space for the dialogue within. So that, hopefully in an efficient nutshell, is the monkey mind. So part 2, mindsets. Gosh, there are thousands of mindsets, and there are hundreds of beautiful, wonderful teachers and experts. And it was very difficult to pick what I thought would be the best set of mindsets that we could address short and simply and effectively, that would really make a difference to your everyday experience of a sustainable and simple life that pulls in a very beautiful spiritual connection. So I'm going to start with the law of attraction, because I think that's a very fundamental principle. And whether you know about this, if you do, I do apologize. Hopefully it's a lovely refresh for what you do. And if you don't, the law of attraction is about like attracts like. And there's a beautiful metaphor that I absolutely love, which is about the violin being played by a violinist. If there is a violin placed nearby, its strings will vibrate and resonance as the violin nearby is played. And that to me is a beautiful way to describe how you're playing your violin, how the resonance and frequencies and vibrations of you playing your own violin, your thoughts, your intentions, your words, your deeds, how they ripple in vibration out and touch not only the people in the life around you, but in my belief system, go out into the cosmos, the universe, whatever you conceive that to be, into the higher realms, and how in this wonderful interconnectedness of being, how that makes a difference and how that all interconnects. Now, the law of attraction is basically saying that everything you think and create today creates the energy and the frequencies of what you'll experience in the future. Don't be frightened by that, be excited by that. I remember the first time I came across that, I was a bit worried about what I'd done. There's 2 things I'd like to say to you. The brain has incredible neuroplasticity and it can rewire at any moment. And our journeys to awakening sometimes do take us a while, and we can change things instantly. Change doesn't need to be painful and slow. It can be, but it can also just be a story and an insight and a new way of looking at something, and we can reframe it immediately. I'd like to share with you what someone called Dr. Alaya Crum has to say about what mindsets are. She says that mindsets are core beliefs, assumptions that orientate us to particular sets of expectations, explanations, and goals. Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So what's important is that the landscape of your mind, built from these expectations, from your life journey, from the script that you wrote between 0 and 7, the landscape of your mind is where you operate and view the world through. It's the prism. It's like a pair of glasses. The landscape here determines how you see the world, what you put out into the world, and in terms of law of attraction, what comes back to you. So the law of attraction is really important in terms of being aware of the frequency, the resonance, and the energetic intentions of your thoughts, your words, your deeds, your actions in what you do. So here are 5 ideas of how you can do something starting from today that really maximize your connection with the law of attraction and put good vibes in what you do and good vibes out into the world. Number 1 is start being aware of what you're thinking, what you're dwelling on. What are the belief systems that operate? Do they serve you? Don't they serve you? And journaling those is a great way of very carefully, thoughtfully, always with compassion, as Jack Cornfield says, loving awareness, no judgment, no recrimination, but begin to reflect on what you do think and what you believe. So last week's thoughts that came in about belief systems with perfectly imperfect fit into this set of ideas that I'm sharing with you now. And if what you're thinking is negative, what can you do to flip it? It's called reframe in NLP. And when we reframe something, we put it in a completely different context. So I'll give you an example. I am really suffering. For example, I'm going through financial difficulties. I'm going through a divorce. I'm going through bereavement. All very common things that we suffer with greatly as human beings. And if you're going through that, life can be very dark and very difficult and challenging. But what you can say to yourself is, right now, my life is difficult for these reasons, but I believe that the light at the end of the tunnel is on and it's shining brightly, and every day I'm walking nearer and nearer to that light. You can turn around and say, right now I am suffering or I'm in difficulty with this experience, but I know that it is teaching me something and I will learn from this. So you take the negative and you look and investigate it and you turn it into a positive. And the act of doing that investigation starts to say to the mind, we're not doing this the same anymore. We're looking at this from a different angle. And the brain has incredible neuroplasticity and all your wonderful neurons and all your synapses firing, going, oh, we're going to do this differently. I'm very excited by that. And you can say to your monkey mind, we're going to start doing this in a different way. You can also ask for help. Men don't ask for help, men don't talk. That's very important. Ask for help so that you can dialogue and explore what you're thinking and how you're feeling and get other people's views, other people's feedback. It's really important. I don't see you like that. I don't see you as negative. I think you're very positive. Or I wouldn't look at your problem like that. I'd look at it like this. And other people are very helpful in giving us a reframe and a new way to look at something, which can then help us and enable us to view it in a positive way and to put a different energy and a different spin on it and to set in motion the intention that we're going to work with the law of the universe in a positive and uplifting way. You can also ask, if you believe in a higher power, you can ask heaven, the universe, your guides, your angels to draw close and inspire you and give you wisdom. Give me the new way of looking at it. Send me a sign, work with me. And when we do that, beautiful everyday miracles, beautiful answers, synchronicities, coincidences magically begin to appear. Roald Dahl says, if you don't believe in magic, you won't see it. And I totally believe in that. Vision boards are something that you've done on the Ayurvedic mentorship. And what's wonderful about that is you take your dreams, your intentions, your goals, these aspirations, and instead of them floating around your mind, you're making them concrete. You're putting them on something outside of you that you can look at and that can inspire you. And it doesn't need to be these big things about goals and dreams if you're struggling, or it can be little things. So if you're struggling, then put the picture of a light at the end of a tunnel to remind yourself that you're journeying through this difficult phase to a new beginning. Or if you're going through something that you keep looping on, put something inspirational on the by the telly or the kettle or on your fridge to inspire you to think about it in a positive and different way. And then the wonderful thing that is really beautiful is all the latest scientific research, and there's a vast amount. There's a vast amount out there that's looking at mind-body spirit, mind-body spirit connection with the universe and external and higher powers. It's fabulous. There are, in fact, these wonderful titles that you might like to explore. There's quantum biophysics, quantum physics, epigenetics, DNA, fractal geometry. They sound absolutely incredible, but there are some beautiful people who put it in very simple ways. Bruce Lipton, Daniel Amen, Deepak Chopra, he's looked at supergenes with Rudolf Fanzi. But all of these different explorations are looking at how consciousness is responsible for our biological functioning and how the mind-body spirit is intrinsically interwoven. Your body is what you think, the universe is attracting this in. So there's a great deal of research that looks at how our physical world, our mind is deeply interconnected with what we experience on every level of our being. And all these beautiful experts all talk about the life-changing power of practicing gratitude. Gratitude can rewire the neurons and synapses of your brain. 3 things you're grateful for every single day for 3 weeks, and you begin to rewire your brain to search in the day for things you're grateful for. So that's a wonderful shift if you're suffering with anxiety and depression, to start saying to your brain, we're not going to spend our time today thinking about our worries and our fears and anxieties. We've got to spend today looking for things we're grateful for, because tonight we've got to write 3 things, or tomorrow morning we've got to write 3 things we're grateful for. So we've got to seek out gratitude. So all these wonderful people say gratitude is a life-changing tool to rewire the mind, to seek out goodness, and that's life-changing when you drop it into the practice of the law of attraction. Next on my list is pain. Pain, hurt, discomfort, wounds. Gosh, we do lots of things to avoid it, but pain is our greatest teacher. We learn so much from when we are in discomfort. Sometimes being in a terribly painful breakup teaches us more about ourselves than if we were ticking along and we were in a blissful and beautiful relationship. Life is full of chaos, it's full of lessons. I think we're here to journey through the lessons. I think that life is our classroom, and that our greatest teacher is our pain, and we can use our pain as a springboard for self-discovery, evolution, and expansion and awareness. And it's our greatest tool for spiritual expansion. It's our greatest tool for living a more conscious life. So what can you do with pain, suffering, discomfort? The first thing you can do is sit with it and appreciate that your body is telling you something. Don't scroll through social media if you're hurting. Sit for a few moments and explore that feeling. Where is it in your body? What does it look like? What's it telling you? Journal, again, another way. I hurt today. My heart hurts. My head is heavy. I feel tense. Why am I tense? Explore it. And that's a beautiful technique. Self-exploration, self-discovery is the principal key of real spiritual progression and unfoldment. The other thing that you can do is replace why with what am I learning? That's life-changing. That will give you the most profound shifts. Instead of suffering, what is this moment teaching me? I was on my hands and knees yesterday, clearing up spilt coffee that had got encrusted into my mum's kitchen work surface and floor from the day before. She's 92, she's got early onset dementia, she's got a hip replacement, she couldn't bend over, she didn't think to call me to tell me she'd spilt it. I'm on my hands and knees, I was feeling irritation. And I thought, I'm going to notice that irritation, Okay, all right, hello, irritation. I acknowledged it. And the moment we acknowledge those feelings, they kind of shift because they're heard. And I felt my irritation shift and it went, okay, I'm being noticed. And I went, irritation, I get you. But actually what I'm going to learn here is patience. And immediately I shifted, feeling all the irritation signals in the body, tense, tight, a gnarly mind, an irritable voice, an impatient tone. And I thought, this is teaching me patience. And the moment that I did that, I shifted my energy. So as you move forward in the days, weeks, months, and years ahead, what is your pain? What is that emotion? What is it teaching you? What can you get out of it? And again, that starts to flip things into the law of attraction. It puts it in a positive vibration. So the next one that I'd like us to look at is attachment. Buddha said attachment is the root of all suffering. And how many times have we given ourselves rope burn, holding on to something way longer than we should, when we know we should put it down, we know we should let it go, and we carry it and we carry it and we battle. We want that person to understand us. We want that situation to change. We want to be able to affect a different outcome. And there are so many times when the best thing that we can do is surrender and release. So 2 important words I'd like to share with you today, which have huge intention: surrender and release. They're a good mantra to have. Time and time again, if you're in conflict, what we resist persists. That's another law in the philosophy of how we function in the universe. What you resist persists. What you keep fighting carries on. And we've all had that experience of being in a situation where we've fought it, or we've challenged with that person. And the moment we throw the towel in, the moment we go, do you know what? I can't do this anymore. I give up. The moment we do that, magic happens, the energy shifts, and we go, oh my God, I've worried about that for months, and now this has happened. And what's happened is you stopped the fight by throwing the towel in sometimes, by saying, I give up, I'm not in conflict anymore with you, I walk away, I put it down. The moment we go into surrender and release, we shift the energy around that. I'd also like to share with you a beautiful Zen lesson called The Monks and the Woman. And I hope that this will give you a lifelong story that you can connect with over the lesson of putting it down. So once upon a time, a senior monk and a junior monk were traveling together. At one point, they came to a river with a very strong current. As the monks were preparing to cross the river, they saw a very young and very beautiful woman who was frightened about crossing the river. And she asked them whether they could help her cross to the other side. The 2 monks glanced at each other because they'd taken vows not to touch a woman. Then, without a word, the older monk picked her up, carried her across the river, placed her gently on the other side, and carried on his journey. The younger monk was outraged. He couldn't believe what had just happened. He was seething mad, and after rejoining his companion, he was speechless. His monkey mind was off. And an hour passed without a word between them. 2 more hours passed, then 3. And finally, the younger monk couldn't contain himself anymore, and he blurted out, as monks, we are not permitted to touch women. How could you then carry that woman on your shoulders? The older monk looked at him and replied, brother, I set her down on the other side of the river hours ago. Why are you still carrying her? And that is a beautiful, beautiful lesson. And from the first time I heard that about 23 years ago, I frequently remember that story, and I repeatedly say to myself, you are carrying her, him, that, put it down. And just remembering that story sets the intention within us to begin to separate from that and the fact that we need to put it down. And in a minute, to close, I'm going to give you and show you a beautiful NLP exercise in how to put something down if you need that extra step to do it. Last on my list of 4 mindsets that I think can be transformatory in our spiritual journey is don't believe everything you think. There is a wonderful monk called Suzuki. I'm not going to attempt to say his first name. And he says, leave your front door and your back door open. Allow your thoughts to come through and to come and go, but don't serve them tea. And I think that's rather marvelous. It's another beautiful metaphor that we can think about when we're operating in the day. Have I stopped and given this thought more time and attention than it needs? Now, when I was talking to you about fabulous people who are exploring how we operate, the mind-body connection, the power of the mind, there is a wonderful gentleman called Daniel Amen. And he is an American doctor psychiatrist, and he has done more scans on brain disorders than any other team of people in the world. He's done thousands and thousands of brain scans because he also explores brain disorders. He's a specialist in that. And he talks about ANTs, automatic negative thoughts. And he says that when an automatic negative thought comes in, the first thing you should do is question it. Is that right? Is that fact? Is that an opinion? And I love it. Is it true? Is that true? And what we do when we start to question automatic negative thoughts, ants, and I view them sometimes as millions of ants dashing around our head. Don't forget, monkeys eat ants, so you could get your monkey mind as a beautiful visualization, eating the ants. When we do this process of inquiry, we stop and halt that automatic negative thought. And the elasticity of the brain, the willingness of our neuronal synapses to rewire and reroute is phenomenal. Gratitude rewires and reroutes the mind to begin to seek out moments of abundance, moments of gratitude. When we question our ants, we begin to put a new way of thinking and operating. So instead of the mind skipping down its well set, what we think about fires together, wires together. So well-wired thoughts that are deeply entrenched can be paused, and we can create new pathways that fire and wire together by questioning our ants. Is it true? Is that real? Is that opinion? What would someone else say? What would another person viewing that comment? What would a friend say if they were giving me advice on it? And the moment we put a gap in that, we begin to break down unhelpful, well-established neurological pathways that we have rooted and wired, and we begin to redirect them into new inquiry and new routes. The other thing that we can do is we can name them. Oh, that's interesting. That's worry. That's fear. That's a critical voice. And again, it does the same thing. It starts blocking our automatic thought processes that have fired and wired together, and we begin to create the opportunity for new openings and new ways for our brain to fire and wire together. It was Donald Hebb who, believe it or not, back in 1949 said, neurons that fire together, wire together. The more you run a particular neural circuit in your brain, a thought, the stronger that circuit becomes. And that is why practice makes perfect. So you can start today with all these different tips, with gratitude, with breathing, with meditation that you did last week, with all the tools and tips that I've given you today. You can start a beautiful new beginning as of right now to explore calming your monkey mind, questioning the ants, beginning to explore and look at how you can attract abundance and great resonance in your life and bring in the good stuff. And so I'd like to end today with a really lovely NLP exercise. It's nice and short, so I'd like you to close your eyes, and I'd like you to imagine that you're holding in your hand a basket or a container of some description that in a minute we will tie a balloon to. So it can have clips or it can have some string and some rope on it. And what I'd like you to do, and either you can do it almost like it's a Harry Potter and you've got a magical wand, you can pluck out the thoughts, memories, experiences, moments, words, pictures, pull out of your mind and put into your bowl, into your container, things you no longer want to carry or hold, things you'd like to let go of. Another way you can do it is you can imagine that you hold your bowl by the side of your ear, doesn't matter left or right ear, and you can imagine that an opening comes in your ear and everything flows out, and it could be words, pictures, memory. You could imagine it as electrical circuits, a typewriter printout pouring down, kind of like the old telegram methods. You can even imagine energy, colours, sludge, gunk pouring out of your brain. But the idea is that you are allowing what you're holding that you no longer wish to hold to come out into your container. And when you're ready, what you're going to do is you're going to tie a balloon that magically appears just before you, filled with helium, and you're going to tie it to your container. And then you're going to say to yourself, your mind, your body, your spirit, you're going to set the intention, which is an incredibly powerful tool to use for manifesting. I let this go. I release these worries, these cares off into the universe. And you can invoke the universe if you believe in it. Dear universe, heavenly spirit, great father, cosmos, angels, doesn't matter. Lift it up to the universe. Universe, I ask for you to help me set this free, take these cares, burdens, concerns, worries, take them away from me, and imagine your container and your balloon drifting higher and further away into the sky, and then come back. And that is a beautiful NLP, neuro-linguistic programming way of putting down something you no longer need to carry. So I hope that adds another beautiful tool into your toolbox for living a more conscious and spiritual life. Next week's session is looking at the extraordinary ordinary. I can't wait to see you. I will give a takeaway task in today's exercise PDF. If you have time to do it, that's great. If not, don't worry. But I will include everybody I've made reference to today so that you can carry on this wonderful exploration of mindset and the monkey mind. So until next time, friends, namaste, take care and stay safe. Bye.